Thank you for joining us today for this really, what I know is going to be interesting, webinar about EPEAT, the Electronic Product Environmental Assessment Tool, and its website, and how to use all of the great resources that are on there. This is Lynn Rubenstein. I imagine that most of you know who was talking. I'm the program manager for the State Electronics Challenge, and I'm delighted to have with me today Andrea from the Green Electronics Council, which is the organization that manages and hosts EPEAT, the Electronic Product Environmental Assessment Tool. And she's really going to be our presenter today. Andrea is the Purchaser Relations Manager, and their offices are in Portland, Oregon. She works with organizations and jurisdictions of all sizes, helping them to use the EPEAT registry to purchase more sustainable electronics and to quantify the benefits of doing so. Now, I'm going to, in a few moments, turn it over to Andrea. Before we get going, I have a couple of housekeeping things. We're recording this so that we will be able to post it up onto the State Electronics Challenge website. So if you end up wanting to refer back to it or to tell somebody else about it, you'll be able to find that there. I also always want to acknowledge and thank the State Electronics Challenge partners, you are the partners, sponsors who fund the program, and that is Samsung, Panasonic, and the R2 Rios program. You folks are all on mute, but I do want you to ask questions. So I will be monitoring the question box, and you'll see that in your right-hand panel, and you can post questions there, and I will ask Andrea the questions as the timing is appropriate, and so we'll be able to have that dialogue. Now, Andrea either did or was just about, Andrea just sent me a document that I'm going to post up onto the GoToWebinar interface, and at some point I'll tell you it's there. But first I'm going to turn it over to Andrea and say thank you very much. And Andrea, are you there?
I am here.
Okay. And so why don't you show us we are viewing your screen. How exciting. Okay, I'm putting myself on mute and I'm going to upload that document. So thank you, Andrea.
Great. Thank you, Lynn. I really appreciate all the work that you do and everyone for tuning in today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring everybody through just a brief description of the EPEAT program, the EPEAT registry, letting you know what it covers, how you can use it, and then we'll jump into the EPEAT registry itself and give you some insight into how best to use that tool for your own procurement. So EPEAT has come to known as the definitive global registry for greener electronics. It covers the most products from the broadest range of manufacturers. Over 4,000 unique products from actually more than I think we have 67 manufacturers right now, and we operate in 43 countries. The registry was designed to provide marketplace reward for innovation by recognizing products that reduce environmental and health impacts, to enable product comparison based on environmental attributes, and to make purchasing based on environmental criteria simple and clear. EPEAT currently covers products in 3 major categories: computers and displays, and that also includes tablets and digital signage; imaging equipment, which are things like printers, copiers, multifunction devices, fax machines; and televisions. We're also in standards development process for mobile phones, servers, and solar modules, and we are working very hard right now to get our mobile phone registry up and running, and plan on having a registry with products on it for mobile phones by July of this summer. So why electronics? It's basically because the impact of production, use, and disposal of electronics is really, really huge. Much of that impact occurs during the manufacturing phase. So products that are designed to last longer, that are easier to upgrade, they get us ahead of the game. And furthermore, those that are energy efficient and designed with less toxics, that are easier to recycle, they help lessen the impact of electronics over their entire product life cycle. So here you can see a couple quick facts. 2,200 gallons of water to create just one of those small little integrated circuits on a wafer. 80% of electronics environmental impact arises from production, as I just noted. EPA's Energy Star estimates that if all computers sold in the United States met Energy Star requirements, which is part of EPEAT, end users' energy cost savings could top $1 billion annually. Global e-waste volumes are projected to be on a steady increase, as much as 33% by the end of this year, from 2013, and an estimated 40% of heavy metals in U.S. landfills are estimated to come from discarded electronics. That was a lot of estimateds, but the EPEAT was created because about 10 years ago, even expert purchasers, including entities like the United States government, the state of California, they were struggling to define what made an electronics product greener. And then their procurement and contracting officers, then and now, often don't have time, the expertise, or the resources to investigate the environmental attributes of each product that they buy, not just limited to electronics, but all types of products. So EPEAT is really about the benefits and connecting purchasers' environmental demands with manufacturers' products that meet those demands in a simple and uniform way. Purchasers have a single credible environmental performance rating to efficiently address life cycle environmental issues that they need in order to meet their sustainability goals without having to investigate each product individually. And on the flip side, manufacturers have a consistent environmental performance criteria for their product design, and they can compare their achievements easily across their own product lines and with their competitors. I often get asked how EPEAT is different from Energy Star. And EPEAT is just a more comprehensive measure of reduced environmental impact than Energy Star. Energy Star is amazing. It is one of the required criteria contained within EPEAT, but it really does only measure energy efficiency. And EPEAT products measure environmental criteria across the entire life cycle of a product. So depending on the exact type of product, and what rating tier it is, it can cover anywhere from 21 to 42 other rigorous environmental criteria in addition to Energy Star. And those environmental criteria include those that you see right here. I won't go extensively into each of these, but you can see that they do cover the entire life cycle of a product, from materials extraction all the way to end-of-life disposal and recycling. And this really helps you to avoid like a false trade-off in choosing one type of environmental criteria or imperative over another, and helps organizations figure out total cost of ownership. Products are rated in EPEAT based on criteria that are contained within each of those categories within that circle. In each of those categories, we have a number of required and optional criteria. And all products that are on the EPEAT registry have to meet all of the required criteria. And then their rate, and so if they come in on the registry meeting all of the required criteria, they are rated at bronze. As they meet more of the optional criteria, they raise in rating to silver then gold. So if they meet 50 to 75% of the optional criteria, they're rated EPEAT Silver. And if they meet 75% or more of the optional criteria, they're rated EPEAT Gold. We really try to note that a gold rating, a bronze rating is it does show leadership, environmental leadership. And a gold rating takes that to the next level. And what we see when we have new product lines on the registry is that most of them come in at bronze, and over time they begin to manufacturing processes improve. Material selection becomes better, and all products in a manufacturer's line start to move up to that silver and gold levels. There are purchasers all around the world using EPEAT, thousands of them. This just gives a really concise view of those that do, and is not at all even a drop in the water of those that do use EPEAT. The United States government has a purchasing requirement for 95% of the electronics that they purchase have to be EPEAT registered. A number of other national governments, as well as states, cities, healthcare organizations, hospitality chains, as you can see here. So within the EPEAT program, we offer opportunities for recognition as well as a number of resources for you. The document that I think Lynn is working on uploading to GoToWebinar is a set of model contract language that you can use and customize to your own liking. This is just, these are clauses that you can put into your contracts with your vendors to say that you would either require or prefer only EPEAT registered products be delivered to you. You can specify at what tier you'd like them delivered. You can also require your vendors to give you regular reports back on how many EPEAT registered products you've purchased. And that reporting helps us to help you calculate your environmental and cost benefits, and they're actually environmental impact reductions, with a calculator that the EPA has developed for us that does things like calculates what the greenhouse gas reductions, energy savings, primary material savings, hazardous waste avoidance, all sorts of things that when we compare the products that you purchase that are EPEAT registered with conventional products, what those benefits are. We also have an annual EPEAT Purchaser Award program. That's actually in full swing right now, and I do have another slide on that because I would love to see more of you involved in it, whether it's this year or next year. So I'll get into that in a moment. And we also like to recognize organizations that are purchasing EPEAT registered products, recognition on our website, recognition in helping you to do press releases and case studies and communication with your own stakeholders. So like I said, we're in full swing for the EPEAT Purchaser Award program. The application deadline is coming up next Wednesday. And what Purchaser Award winners are those that are using EPEAT to purchase electronics, that are reporting back on the number of products that they've purchased. And then in turn, what we do for award winners is we give them public recognition. We do have an award ceremony coming up next month in Arlington, Virginia. We also calculate those environmental impact reductions, and we offer some extended case study participation opportunities. And there is a nice trophy involved as well. So here, this slide is an example of those environmental impact reduction, an example of that. This is the state of Minnesota in the year 2015. And as you can see, they purchased a great number of electronics, and they in turn saw a great number of environmental impact reductions as a result. As you can see, 1,200 metric tons of primary materials reduced, the equivalent of 43 U.S. households' annual solid waste, electricity savings equivalent to powering 2,600 U.S. homes for a year, and something that can help encourage even those who might not necessarily be into purchasing more sustainable electronics for the environmental aspects, but there are also incredible cost savings that can be realized to that. So $2.5 million in cost savings over the entire life cycle of the product. So that takes into account energy savings, extended product life cycle, so purchasing less products, etc. Easier recyclability as well. So now, unless there's any questions on any of that, I'm going to talk a little bit more about switching the EPEAT registry.
Right. So Andrea, this is Lynn. So that model contract language that you referenced is available on the dashboard for the participants to download. It's a Word document, and I'll certainly have it later as well if anybody doesn't happen to grab it right now. But it is there. And I'll also just comment because I know that some of you that are on the call have already made your award requests to the State Electronics Challenge. And I did have a couple of partners, Andrea, who were confused because they applied to you for an award and they thought, oh, they're done. I had to say, no. So as long as you're talking about your award program, we'll just note that you have an opportunity to win 2 awards, one from the Green Electronics Challenge, Council, and one from the State Electronics Challenge. So I think it's great that there's these two opportunities, but I thought I'd just take the moment to make that little clarification in case anybody was suddenly wondering, well, wait a minute here. So having butted in with that, I'll let you continue. Thanks.
Yep, yeah, and I hope to see everyone do both. Lynn's calculations actually take into account even more than we do. She calculates all of your use phase and end-of-life environmental impact reductions, and it's really cool to see. But we hope you come on over to us as well, in addition, not instead of. Okay, so in a moment I'm going to show you the EPEAT registry and give you some tips on how to better search the registry. Just want to go through a couple things before that. All EPEAT products that are registered are viewable online. If you don't see a product online on the registry, then it is not registered in EPEAT. There are also both active and archive products. Active products are those that are actively on the market. They're on the registry. They're involved in regular verification rounds with our conformity assurance team. And then we have archive products, and those are just older products. We don't want to erase any records on the registry. So what we do is when a product gets older, or sometimes if it can no longer meet EPEAT criteria, let's say the Energy Star specifications have raised the bar, which does happen periodically, then a lot of those products become archived. So we keep the record on the registry, but we kind of keep them in a separate bucket. So if you're looking to purchase products right now, if it's an archive product, it's not EPEAT registered at this moment because those aren't involved in verification rounds either. So what I'm going to do is go through a couple more tips and tricks. We'll look on the EPEAT website for a few web resources, and then I'm going to jump into a live demonstration of the EPEAT registry, and we'll also leave time for questions and answers at the end. So the EPEAT registry, with that model contract language, this is how you can really talk with your vendors. Your vendors are going to be your best source of information. They work for you, and they have the time and the detailed information that you might not want to dig around for. And the easiest way to get them to give you that information is to put it into your contracts. You can get that off of this GoToWebinar. It's also located on our website, and I'm pretty sure it's probably also located on the State Electronics Challenge website. And within that, there is a clause for reporting, and we encourage you to do that as well. Another thing is that EPEAT registration is by model. So just knowing that you have a Lenovo ThinkPad is not enough. The registration is drilled down to individual model numbers, so that's something to be aware of. This is just a tip sheet for using the registry, and I won't actually go into it because we'll go into it as I show you the registry. I just wanted to have it on here in case anybody does download the slides. So we have a number of different ways of searching the registry. The full search feature is our multifaceted, really detailed way to get into products. You can use that to search by product type, manufacturer, rating tier, or criteria. You can make comparisons of those items based on many different options. I will say that when you're searching, to start small, don't select too many aspects or the search will be very slow, and start short. Putting in specific product model names, sometimes small nuances can get lost in translation, and I'll show you that momentarily. Before I jump off of the slides, are there any questions, Lynn?
No, I think we're looking forward to the demonstration.
All right, sounds good. So just real quickly, this is the EPEAT website, epeat.net. You can find all sorts and sundry of EPEAT resources under Resources and For Purchasers. This is where you would come back to find, we have a number of best practices guides, and we also have the EPEAT model contract language located right here. We also have, you can click through to sample contract language that is being currently used by other entities, and it's good to look at. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty and use the registry. So there are 3 different ways to get to products and search for products in the registry. The first is this quick search function. This is a really handy way to have a general quick look at what is registered in EPEAT. If you select your product category and the country of origin, you can have a quick look to see how many products are registered at what tier and which type. And from here, you can click onto different numbers to get you through to search results. So if you know that you want a desktop and you want a gold-rated desktop, you could click through on that 173, and you'll see all gold-rated active desktops in the EPEAT registry. One other thing to note.
Could you just clarify why am I picking the United States? Why, if you could just explain that piece of it.
Yes, absolutely. So EPEAT registration is country specific. There are a number of criteria that manufacturers might meet differently in different countries. The criteria are the same, but their ability to meet them might be different. So often product may be registered in the United States, but it is not registered in Australia. And sometimes it's not that they can't meet it in Australia, it's that they do not have, they don't see the point in doing so because they don't see a demand. And we actually came into this discussion recently with some imaging equipment in Canada, and one of the manufacturers was registering in the United States, but not registering those products in Canada. One of the purchasers brought this to my attention, and if you're seeing something like that, let me know, because we were able to work them with the manufacturer to show them that there was a demand for that. They registered the products in Canada, and they do, they meet the criteria, and everybody's happy at the end of the day. So, so that's how you would get to that's one way to get to search results. And I'll go into looking at this page in a moment. I'm going to go through the other 2 ways to get to a similar page. The second way to search the EPEAT registry is by either manufacturer or country. We do have 2 different buttons here, but they both lead to the same thing. And this is much like the quick search page. It's just it shows the results in a slightly different way. So this breaks it down by manufacturer. This is handy if you know that you only buy like Xerox printers. You can come right to the Xerox and select all of those. And then as you see, you come to a very similar search results page. And the final way to search the registry is through the full search. And this is really our robust searching process. This is really valuable if you, especially if you have specific policy imperatives. Maybe you only want to select silver or gold. Maybe you want to drill down to individual criteria, and I'll show you how to do that. So one of the things to note on here is to keep it pretty simple and don't select too many things. If you know that you want a notebook, only select notebooks. If you select all of the different product types, it's going to result in more search results, and it's going to slow down the system quite a bit. I also generally don't put in a model number or a model name, though you can, and a lot of times it's a really successful way to search. But I'll show you in a moment when we get to the results page how to drill down. Once you have those results, there's another search box in there that helps you filter down those results. I am going to search for my computer that I'm working on, which is Lenovo.
So Andrea, is it true, here you are scrolling through the manufacturers, is it true that only if this manufacturer has has a notebook registered, that it will show up? I mean, is it possible for you to click notebook and then to pick a manufacturer that doesn't have one listed?
It actually is possible. The system is not, there's not that much logic built into this page. Okay. So every manufacturer that's listed here has products. Some of them, these are all the global manufacturers. We actually have quite a few manufacturers who only operate in Brazil. I think Poland is the other company, or the other country, where they're just really small manufacturers and they want to sell to the government, so they only operate there. So it's possible to choose United States, click all of these different product types, and then choose one of these smaller manufacturers and not get any search results.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. And you can also choose more than one manufacturer, and same with country, by using your control key. I'm going to just keep it to one right now. Let's choose the United States. You can choose whether you want to search for all ratings or just one. I'm going to keep this on active products. One note about the monitor sizes. The really unfortunate thing is that when we built this registry, this is one of the things we're trying to fix. We allowed the monitor size to be a box that users input the size of their monitor themselves. So it's not uniform, and it's really not good for searching. As you can see, there are like 5 different ways to put in 14-inch in here. And so it's not that helpful for searching, but I'll show you when we get into the search results how you can then show what those monitor sizes and sort them down. Another thing that you can do that's down here in the advanced search options is to drill down into individual optional criteria. So remember when I said before that EPEAT is registry products must meet all of the required criteria, and then they can meet a number of optional criteria. So since all of the products on here already meet the required criteria, we don't allow you to search by those because all of them would show up. But we do list out all of the optional criteria, and let's see, I don't want to click that. And let's say that you want to ensure that the product that you're purchasing has a provision for take back for their packaging. You can go ahead and choose that optional criteria. We can go to the search results, and we know that all of the products on this page are Lenovo, active Lenovo EPEAT rated notebooks in the United States that have a provision for packaging take back, which is pretty handy. So now I want to show you how to deal with this search results page. You can go ahead and say that you have the search results that you need. You want to be able to take this list of all Lenovo registered products and export all of their information. You can do that just as the product itself, or you can also include the criteria information just to make things simpler. I'm going to choose to export the product info. This gives you a Excel spreadsheet. That's not it. That's the whole thing. And then you have a search results page that has all of the Lenovo notebooks, and you get all of the information about them, how they're rated, how many optional criteria they meet, etc. This is really I find that purchasers use this a lot to bring to either their IT team, or to then take to Amazon or wherever you're purchasing products, or to give to your vendor to say, choose from these products. These are the types of models that I would like. We can also look a little further into...
Andrea, what was that CA base? I don't know that people know what that means.
Oh, so we have, in order to ensure the validity of the registry and the products on the registry, we do continuous verification of the products. And we are a small team, and we don't do that all on our own. We actually have a number of what we call conformity assurance bodies, and they're located worldwide, and they help run continuous verification rounds for the products. So this one, it looks like Lenovo takes their products to UL Environment, which UL is a company, if you ever look on the back of one of your plugs or on the lock of our door, there's a UL mark, and they are a certification organization that they run standards and certification worldwide. So that's not necessarily something that purchasers need to be very on top of. The results are always the same. So within these search, oh, go ahead.
So you can tell me to wait with this question if you want. So you picked, when you did that last search, you picked through and you picked one of the optional criteria that, you know, as a search function. So where could people find what all the criteria are? So they might be looking at that list for the first time and not realize, oh, I could have searched on this or I could have searched on that. So where would they find out what it actually means? So offers a take-back program for packaging. What is that? What do you mean by packaging? So does this mean that they're going to show up at my office and take my cardboard box? I mean, you know, what does this actually mean? So where would they find that?
We do have a listing of all of the criteria themselves on our website. If you go to resources and criteria, you can look through, and these are also, unfortunately, these are just the titles of the criteria. You can infer a bit about the criteria by looking at these. If you want more information, give me a call. The issue is that the standards are published with an organization called IEEE, and IEEE holds the copyright on the standards. So to see the full entire text of the standards, you would need to purchase the standard. However, if you would ever want to know more about the criteria, and I can give you I probably can't, you know, I can't give you the standard, but I can run through what these mean with you verbally.
So could I do it the other way around also? So I'm in a meeting in my office and somebody says, well, gee, you know, if I buy EPEAT, does it mean that the gizmo does this? And so I say, well, I have no idea. So could somebody ask you, does it mean that the gizmo does this?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. I just asking you these sorts of questions.
Yep, exactly. And that just actually happened yesterday. Somebody asked if EPEAT helps with multifunction devices and limits or EPEAT products help limit the amount of ozone emissions that result from large printers, and I was able to say yes, we do. And in fact, so we have an indoor, and that's where there's a criteria called indoor air quality emissions requirements, which you would not be able to infer all of the types of indoor air quality emissions that reduces, but I was able to actually take a screenshot of the levels and send that to the gentleman who asked about that. So there are certain things we can do and certain things we can share. But if somebody really wanted to dig into all of the text of the standard, I'd encourage them to purchase it. But come to me first and we can help you. All right, so back to the search results page. As you come, so we know we have a search result set. If you want to filter down the search results a bit, let's say that I know that I want a ThinkPad yoga, which is one of those really cool, like, laptops that bend all sorts of ways. As soon as you type that in, we had 40 results, and now we just have a page of results, 10 results, because it has filtered down those results to these ThinkPad yogas. Once you see a product that you like, if you want to know more about it, you can go ahead and click on it. And within here, you get the full product declaration history. You know that it's, you know, what the title is, where it's registered. This is all the information we kind of knew, how large the monitor size is. It also drills down into all of the criteria categories. So you can click on any of those, and it shows you whether or not that particular product has met those criteria. In some cases, let's see, I think material selection. Oh, but this one doesn't meet any of them. So this, you can also see that this product doesn't meet any of these criteria. Some things are not just a yes and no as well. There's also a declaration of product weight. So you're able to get that information as well. within a product detail page, you can also export that to Excel. You can print it from here, export it with that product declaration detail in case you need to keep those types of really detailed notes. Does this one also... Oh, you can also see what other countries that product is registered in. From this search result page as well, you can choose to see more detail in these top columns. Earlier I had talked about the monitor size, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that right now. And you can see for any of them, it's not a requirement that a monitor size is put into the registry, so not all of them have it, but you can see those that have. You can sort any of these categories by clicking on its header. So I'm going to sort that, and you get it smallest to largest to smallest. So this is the monitor size entry is not completely useless. It does serve a purpose, and you're able to come in and sort by that. And we are working to make that better. And then finally, you can take these products and you can compare a few of them side by side. I'm going to go ahead and click on just the top 4 right here. I'm going to choose Compare Products. And this compares all of those environmental criteria with each of these products side by side. And of course, I picked 4 that are exactly the same. So I'm going to go back and show you one that could be different. Compare. Oops. So that you can compare quite a few at a time. But you see some of them will say yes, some will say no. In this list over here on the left, we have all of those optional criteria. So you can get it at a glance which ones are meeting the types of criteria that you care about, or if you want to just have a quick glance and see which one has more green yeses on it, that's a way to do it as well. And that, my friends, I think is the ins and outs of the registry. I do have one other thing that I do want to show you. Oh, well, 2 things. Over here on the left, we also have a section for company list. And so this is a feed that shows at any time how many manufacturers and which ones are participating in EPEAT. There's a lot of times that I get questions from organizations and they say, they have a list of products. They hadn't made the reporting section of EPEAT a requirement yet, and could I help them search through the types of products, or search through their products to see which ones are EPEAT registered? And that is something that I'm always happy to help you do. We call it a spend analysis. It's a free resource. Just give me a call, and I'm really happy to help you do that. So just depending on how busy we are, the turnaround time is not always immediate, but I do my best. And if it's something that you'd ever want to do on your own, one little trick that I show people on how to do that well is oftentimes those searches come back in something resembling this spreadsheet. And it's really easy. I usually take the whole list and I sort it, and like this one has a subclass, and I see a lot of like notebooks and everything in there, so I do that first, and then I add a level, and I sort by the SKU description, and what that does is it groups like products together. And this doesn't solve everything. I still end up going through and searching for these products, but you're getting a lot of things that are all the same right in a row. Which helps with not going back and searching things over and over and over again. So that's my small advice of knowledge for the day. Do we have any other questions?
A couple. So you, I think, partially anticipated this question in this demonstration, this last thing you just showed. Somebody was curious about why, besides historical interest, why is there an inactive registry? When would I use that? And I think that's in part what you were just doing here, isn't it?
No, the inactive registry is actually those are the archive products. So we have the product that I think we saw, it said active, and maybe that's when they asked about that. And if it was an archive product, it would say archived. And archive products are those that are either no longer on the market, or they are maybe they aren't meeting the latest Energy Star. They're no longer meeting all of the EPEAT required criteria, so they fall off of the registry. And we don't want to erase that record, but we do want to notate that it's no longer actively EPEAT registered. It's no longer going through verification. If you have an EPEAT requirement within your organization, don't choose that product.
Right. Okay. So I get questions from various organizations, usually when they're first becoming active in the State Electronics Challenge, saying, oh, gee, we didn't keep track of what is EPEAT qualified. So we've got stuff, but we can be looking prospectively, but we have no idea what it was, and nor is our purchasing centralized. So we don't have a contract. We allow, let's say at a university, professors can just use a credit card and buy something. So then they say to me, well, if that's the case, then how do I ever find out if something is EPEAT registered or was EPEAT registered when it was purchased? And so I think, to me, part of the answer for that is doing the search you just did, but you also have to look at archived, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. And I will show you, actually, why don't I go through and show an archive product. Let's see, just do... So an archive product will show you, and you can do it here on this front page. It shows you when it was archived. So a lot of times you might want to search, sort that section just to know which ones are newer and which ones are older. If something had been archived in 2008 and somebody bought it last year, that might not make much sense. But when you click on,
get archived, does the manufacturer do that, or does Green Electronics Council do that?
It can happen either way. If we find a product non-compliant, we will archive it. If an Energy Star standard is upgraded, we give, and a manufacturer has not updated whether or not that product meets the newest version of Energy Star by the date that it becomes active, we archive it. If a manufacturers can also come in and archive it themselves. And we do run on a report and verify system. So what happens when a manufacturer first comes into the process is they are put on something called desk review, or when they join a new product category, like when mobile phones come online. All manufacturers that participate, even those that participate in other product categories, will be on a thing called desk review, and that's where nothing gets automatically reported to the registry. We go through detail by detail on all of the reporting that they do and make sure that it's accurate, make sure that they understand the system. Once they pass that period and we know that they know how to use the system, they understand the criteria, they also sign a legal agreement to be truthful and honest, then they're able to report their products directly to the registry, and those products are put in a pool where we verify. We have verification rounds going on at all times, and products get pulled out of that active products list, and we do verifications. We do that. Those conformity assurance bodies do that, and then if we find something non-conformant, we archive it.
Right. Good. Thanks. Well, I want to be sure to give people a last chance to ask any more questions if they have them, to type them into the question box on your dashboard, usually somewhere on the top right-hand side of your screen. And Andrea, let me just ask you, looking forward into the mobile phones, you said that you expect there to be a registry published in July. So to me that implies that manufacturers are right now applying basically, saying, here, I have a phone. Has that phase started, or are you starting to collect that information?
We actually, UL Environment is running a pre-certification program, which a lot of other eco-labels do. Yeah. And so right now, yes, that process is underway because they're working with manufacturers to they go through, they will not be subjected to verification rounds because for any of their products to be on the registry, every single point, every single criteria will have to be pre-checked. So there are products going through that process right now.
And you also had servers on the list. When do you think that we'll be able to see EPEAT registered servers?
We are looking for that in 2018. So the standards development process can be sometimes very, very lengthy. Our standards are based on a multi-stakeholder consensus-based process. So we bring purchasers and academics and environmental groups and manufacturers all into the room, and everyone in that room writes the standards together and has to agree on it and has to vote on it, and it has to pass the vote. So that is sometimes a long political process. Yep. And I
actually participate on the server committee. And
oh, nice.
So I was actually mostly curious to see what do you think is going to happen.
Well, I hope that jives with what you think too.
Yeah. Just one last question that I have, or comment that I have really, is right at the beginning you showed some of the environmental benefits that EPEAT equipment results in. And you commented that with your EPEAT purchasing awards, you give a sustainability report, and I do the same thing. And we both use the EPA Electronics Environmental Benefits Calculator, and they have one calculator that's for computers, monitors, and cell phones. So they anticipated EPEAT registered cell phones. Mm-hmm. And then there's one for imaging equipment. So do you think that there's going to be a new calculator for servers, or are we going to see a separate calculator for mobile phones, or do you think we're just going to stay with these two that we have?
We are really hoping so. We're actually working, just because we don't want to rely on the fact that the EPA is going to get funding for sustainability tools right now. Yeah. We're working internally to see how we can make that happen.
That's great. That's great. They're wonderful resources.
Yes, I will say a mobile phone calculator likely will not be available at the immediate onset of the registry coming out. But then again, we usually measure these benefits over the course of a year anyway. So it would be a year later that it would be our target date to have something like that ready.
But the end of life part of it is already captured. So
yes.
We'd be looking at having a calculator that looks at the purchase and the use phase. Those are the two pieces of it that aren't currently being calculated.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Great. Wonderful. Well, just remind people, if you haven't, you can either download that handout here, or you saw that you can get to it from the EPEAT website. And Andrea, I just want to thank you so much for this great demonstration and overview. It's tremendous. If anybody on the call ends up having questions, follow-up questions, you can send them to me or get to Andrea, because I don't think you had your email. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah. You can email it. I suddenly realized, I don't think we saw your email address. You can contact Andrea directly, or me, of course, and look forward to you guys all buying lots more EPEAT products. And again, Andrea, thank you so very much. And with that, I'll say good afternoon, and I'm going to hang up and stop the recording. And thank you, Andrea. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.